True humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's being so secure in the Father's love that you don't have to think about yourself at all. We're going to talk about that today on I Know a Guy, about the humility that flows from sonship, not shame. Stay with me. Hi, and welcome back to I Know a Guy, the podcast ministry of bringingkingdom.org. Would love to spend some time with you one-on-one. I'm going to put some information in the show notes today. If any of this is hitting home with you and you want to have a private conversation, follow the links down below in the show notes. I'd love to spend some time with you. Now, yesterday, we talked about false humility, the kind that hides, shrinks, and calls fear virtue. Today, I want to talk about true humility. Because, man, you see, true humility isn't self-hatred, and it's not insecurity, and it's not pretending you're less than you are. It's there. It's part of who you are. True humility is actually security. You don't have to speak up. You stay in the background. You don't need applause. You don't need attention. You want to elevate others as more important than yourself. It's living out of that because why? You know who you are, and you know that the Father sees you. And so I can be there to be a vessel of righteousness and love to other people around me. It's knowing who you are and whose you are so deeply that we don't have to prove it, we don't have to defend it or perform for it. Men, I've been down that road. I've been trying to prove for years, almost 5 decades worth, that I was, doing that. I was, no. But really what we learned yesterday was that's not true humility. That's false humility. And where can we find the best example of this? Well, obviously, our King Jesus. Jesus is our clearest picture on what true humility is. He knew exactly who he was. He said, the Father loves the Son and has placed everything into his hands. And from that place of confidence, he washed feet. Who would do that? Remember, when the disciples saw that happening, they're like, no. They're the ones that felt that shouldn't be done because what? They had false humility out of fear and everything we talked about yesterday. But Jesus got down and washed their feet. That's the key, man. True humility flows from sonship. We are beloved sons of the King, and true humility flows when we can see ourselves as God sees us. When you know you're loved, when you know you're chosen and delighted in, you are free. We talked about that a few weeks ago on the podcast. It was the 7 desires of the heart. Go back and listen to those. And when you go through all those, you're going to feel loved. You're going to feel chosen. You're going to feel delighted in. You're going to feel free. That's where true humility flows from. Free to serve without resentment. Free to lead without domination. Free to be seen without fear. True humility doesn't ask, how do I stay small? Think about that. True humility doesn't ask, how do I stay small, like false humility? True humility asks, how do I stay aligned with the Father? Did you hear that, men? How do I stay aligned with the Father? It doesn't obsess over self. It forgets self. Why? Because it's anchored in love. The Apostle Paul says it this way, do nothing from selfish ambition or vain conceit. Notice, humility isn't thinking you're worth less. It's not driven by ego, fear, or comparison. A humble, beloved son doesn't need to announce himself. He doesn't need to send pictures to everybody to show what he's doing. He doesn't need to brag about what kind of car he drives or the things that he does. That's not true humility. That's false humility. A humble son doesn't even need to do anything, but he also doesn't hide. He shows up. He brings what he's been given. And he trusts the Father with the outcome. True humility says, I'm not the source, but I'm entrusted. And men, that changes everything. Think about it. We stop striving, we stop hiding, and we stop negotiating our worth, right? When we live from true humility, we live from rest instead of performance. That's the humility the kingdom runs on, not shrinking, not self-erasure, not confident surrender. That's what it looks like to walk humbly with God, fully present, fully alive, and fully secure as his son. Men, thanks for listening to I Know a Guy podcast. if you would follow this podcast, if you would rate it, if you would write a short review, and then share it with another guy. We are gathering more and more men to understand their identity as a beloved son in the King, as beloved sons, and we are headed to the promised land. The promised land isn't full of wealth and good times or whatever. No, the promised land is living every day, just like I described today about true humility. It is getting to the point where I see myself as the Father sees me, and I have the confidence in the world. There's nothing that could be put in front of me that's going to cause me to shrink back, to have fear, to have anxiety, and to have worry. Why? Because Joshua and Caleb were about, I know who I am, and I know who my Father is. Let's go. All right, man, I love you. I will see you next time on I Know a Guy podcast. Take care. Be free.